Alright, what's up guys? Ryan from Elevate Security here. In this video, we are going to be covering all you need to know about redirection. I'm going to be covering some, quite a few command line utilities as well for Linux that you'll commonly see that sort of play into this concept. And so you'll see how everything wraps together as we get through this. So, some notable commands first is the cat command. You've probably seen that several times, and basically what that does is just concatenate stuff to the screen. You type what is cat, get a brief explanation, concatenate files, print on the standard output. So essentially the way it works is you have some kind of text file. We'll take one of our scripts. All these shell scripts are just text files as well. So the subdir is one. Say we wanted to see the contents of it, we can concatenate it to standard out as it explains here by just running cat and the name of the file. And then we can see these are actually the lines in the file. Simple enough, right? That's pretty straightforward. Let's move on here. Next one is the sort command. What it can do is sort lines of text, right? So you can specify if you want to sort it. By default, I believe it does it alphabetically, but you can also specify numerically if you have numbers that you want to get in order, or like a reverse sort, ascending, descending, that kind of stuff. So let's see, if we cat, say, Etsy password, I'm not sure this will be the best example for this, but I think this one should work, right? Obviously, it's not in any particular, well, it is in a particular order, but not in any kind of like alphabetical or numerical order, I should say. So we could send that to something like the sort command, and then you see what that did there is that put that in alphabetical order. That's how it works off of by default. Now, of course, we go into the man page for it. We can look at more thoroughly how to do this stuff. We could probably find reverse the result of the comparisons. I believe this will go from descending to ascending, or maybe I got that backwards, but it should be the opposite order. Yep, see? We ran that with the -r flag, sort -r. Now it gave us the results in like a reverse alphabetic order. So, yep, that's also, I would say, pretty straightforward. Now, sort, you can use it with a -u for unique, so that there's no duplicates. And I don't think this won't have any duplicates as it is. Let's create our own file to demo this. All right, so if I create a file called duplicates.txt, and let's just put some names in there. I'll put my name, Ryan. We'll put John, Sally, Ryan again, Tim, and we'll put like Ryan like 3 times, right? So we can look at that file. Oops. And you see, the file we created here, right? This is what it looks like in its original form. Now we can use sort with the -u flag for unique. And so that's only going to output the unique name, so there won't be any duplicates in the list. So as you see there, all the names only appear one time. So another thing we can do is look at the length of the file. Like, we can look at how many lines are in it. So this is based off of that duplicates.txt file once again. If we run a WC, that's for word count, I believe, right? Get a quick synopsis here. Print new line, word, byte counts for each file. We're going to tell it lines, right? The line count, because each name was on a different line, right? That's how we structured the file. So if we do that, we can pipe it into WC, give it the -l flag, which if we didn't know, we could look in the man page for that. There's 6 different lines here. Now, what if we wondered how many unique lines are there, right? If we cat that file, we can see there's 6 lines, I believe, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? What if we were only interested in how many unique lines there are? Say this wasn't this short of a file. Say it was like a super long, thousands of lines, right? This is where it could potentially be useful. So we would first want to list only the unique ones, as we did before, right? Now we would want the line count on that. So just keep chaining things together, redirecting, standard in, standard out, standard error, as I talk about all the time. Now we can see there's only 4 unique ones. So yeah, just doing different things like that, you can see how this stuff can really chain together with one another to become really powerful tools at your disposal. Now we can use the grep. We can say only give me lines that have Ryan in them. And now it just prints out all those lines, right? So, grep is a command that allows you, it's a very powerful command. It allows you to search for something in the text, and by default, it will print out the entire line where that match was found. So not even just this, right? If I had, say I edit this and one of them, on one of the lines that has my name, whoops. So for one of the lines that has my name, like this one, we'll say it also has and this text, right? So now when we run that grep command, we'll see like everything on that line where the match was found. Now we can change this with some flags. We can have it only show the match and not all of the line, or we can have it show multiple lines before or after. Those are just additional flags that we tack on that we could do that if we wanted to. We could also do a -R flag in Grep Recursively. So say we're at the top of a folder and we want to find any files that have, like, say, the keyword password in it. We're looking for passwords maybe. We can run grep with a -R flag and then password, and it will look recursively under all of the files in that folder and beyond, in the subfolders, to see if it can find and display the line by default, the whole line, where the password was found. That's really handy to, at a glance, really quickly try to find some potential passwords if you're looking at maybe config files or something like that. Another good one is the head command. That will show you the first however many lines you tell it to of the file, or you could use the default, which I think is like 10 lines or so. And there's also the tail command, which is the opposite of the head command. It'll show you by default the last however many lines of the file. You can do that on the nmap command, right? Or on the nmap file. Let's take a look at one, shall we? If we first cat it so you can see what it normally looks like, we can go from our home directory, hack the box. We'll take a look at the teacher box. We've been doing that one lately. And we'll just take a look at our full scan, right? This is that full.nmap. Well, this one was not very long. There wasn't too much findings on that, but some of these nmap files can be super long. Say I want to find what's the IP address. I don't care about all this other information. I forget the IP address of the teacher box. I just want to see this first line here because I know it has it. Well, I could just use the head command for that instead of cat. So if I use head and I just say, hey, just show me the first line. I believe that's -N1, I think. Then yeah, there you go. Here, this might be easier to see it on a new line here, new terminal. Boom. That gives me only the first line as I'd want. Now, I think if you use tail, the same thing. You can just see the very last line. Yep, nmap done. So we just see the last line, right? So those are those two commands there. Now, the last one that I will end with before we get into some of the actual redirection stuff is that you can also run the T command. Now, what does that do? I think I've run it a few times on this channel before, but the way things work normally, if you run a command like, let's see if I can think of a command here that we can run. Let's say that we wanted to look at the processes and we want to see everything running as root. Now we can do that. This gives us everything that is running under the root account, all the processes that are running as the root account. And so just like that, we can see that with that command. However, all the output, all the standard out is just going to the terminal. This isn't being saved anywhere for us to reference later or anything like that. It's just going to be on the terminal, and once you do other things on the terminal, you're going to either have to scroll up a bunch, or it's just going to, depending on how long your terminal history is, it's just going to be gone. You're going to lose this information. Now, one thing you could do is you could use some redirection, right? You could say this arrow here pointing this way, meaning take the output of this. Remember, standard in, standard out, standard error. Take the output, the standard out, and redirect it to this file, whatever we want to call the file. We'll call it processes.txt. Now, we can run it like this, but the thing is, we won't get anything on our console output now, because all of what would normally go to the console output has been redirected into this file. I mean, we can cat the file and see the same information, but we'll have to wait till it completes. If it's a long command, like an nmap scan, like a full nmap scan or UDP nmap scan, we're going to have to wait and wait and wait until, you know, the command completes, and then we can cat the file and see the results. Now, maybe this isn't ideal for us. In the case of like a quick ps-ef grep root like we did there, it doesn't matter. We can wait, but maybe it's something longer like that, and we don't want to wait that time. We want to have the information on the console, but at the same time we want to save that and make it persistent. That's a bit of an issue with our current set of tools, right? Well, here's where the T command comes into place, because what the T command will do is it will both output the standard output to the console as well as save it into the file. So let me just remove that file we created real quick. Let's run this command again, this time with the T command. And this is not going to be a redirection. This is going to be piping. You pipe it into the T command. And I believe you would, from here, I think you would specify the name of the file here. Yep. So there you go. It's on standard out now. Let's see if we saved it. Yep. We also got it saved into processes.txt. I had to think about that for a second. I haven't used this one too much lately. A lot of the nice thing is a lot of tools, a lot of the really nice, well-developed tools will have their own flags to save it to files, and it'll still output to the console. Like Nmap, they have the -O flag for that, right? Things like GoBuster, they have their own flags, like a -O flag. A lot of times it's a -O flag for this type of stuff, but some stuff won't have that. Or if you're running just a built-in Linux command, it's not going to have that, you know, like the process command in this case. So that's where you can make use of the T command to solve that issue for you. Now, one last thing that I want to close out with here is the thing about this, the thing about redirecting with this arrow, right? Every single time it's going to create the file and write it there. Now, what happens if you don't want to overwrite the entire file there? You just want to keep adding, keep appending to the file, right? If we do an echo command with line 1 of the text, right? And we call this test.txt, right? And then we cat that. We see that, right? But now, say we want to add another line to the text. If we just do this, well, it's going to overwrite it. Now we don't see line 1, we just see line 2, right? So the solution to this, we want to keep adding here, is instead of the single arrow, we want to do a double arrow. Oops. A double arrow, and what that's going to tell it is to append to the existing, right? And also, if this file doesn't already exist, it'll create it. But if it does exist, it's going to append it. So now when we cat it, we see that. So we can use this with something like a for loop, right? And it will do some kind of calculation, run some command, whatever we want it to do. And every time it'll keep adding to the results. You know, it'll just keep adding the new stuff. So you have a file of like a bunch of operations, a bunch of data, and it's not overwriting it every time, it's adding to it. So now you can see the utility in this, hopefully. And yeah, there's a little bit more to standard out, standard in, standard error I could cover in another video, like particularly standard error and how you can reroute it to stuff like dev null and, you know, different things like that. But I think this is definitely a really good starting point of things to understand, some basic Linux terminology and techniques to have at your disposal to definitely be successful in the OSCP, but just a better hacker, pen tester overall. So yeah, I hope this was of value to you guys. If so, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me out, lets me know you're interested, and I will see you guys in the next video.